one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. Can somebody save me, I'm losing every battle.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, loves? I was just laughing to myself. I'm like, I don't know about you, but I know I'm going to miss that show tune that opened. It's just been such a big part of, the show. And just when I play it, I know we're getting into some awesomeness. So, welcome. Good morning. This is the final episode of the Brand Momentum Morning Show in its current format. We're taking this show inside our community, inside the Brand Accelerator Lounge. So we will be in the new year with a new show, but I want to be clear on the distinctions. So this Brand Momentum Morning Show has been your weekly dose of vitamin I, your inspiration. We coach, we do laser coaching, we do hot seating, we do exercises, we give homeworks, all the things, right? It's been like your coaching moment with me for, gosh, I don't know, over 3 years now. And so we made the decision that we're going to pull this show from the public and offer this level of access only to our Brand Accelerator members. So I just want to say at the top of the hour, if you're not currently a member, just type the word accelerator right now and you will get information. You'll get information on the show. So this is the word if you want to have this level of access and this level of coaching, right? So I just wanted to say that at the top of the hour. And we're going to be on with a new show, Talking All Things Brands. And that show is going to be more of an interview format. There's no coaching, there's no guidance. Obviously you'll be inspired by the guests, but you won't have me coaching you, doing exercises, giving you homework, all the things. That's now for our members. So again, type the word accelerator in the comments below and you'll get information on that. So the new show starts in 2023. It's going to be just fabulous. That's all I'm going to say. And I can't wait to have all of the guests on to really, it's a story about the brand journey, right? It's a story about the journey from to, and the destination is ongoing. And you're going to meet a lot of the clients because what I've done in the program, which is another reason why you want to get in, is that I've given the members access to the show. So they have the calendar, they can book anytime they want to come on and talk about their brands. I'll be doing the interview. So in essence, they get a brand asset, which is them sitting in the expert seat, and they can share that across their social media, their email, all the things. So that's just another, brilliant reason why you want to be a member, because you get to be interviewed on the show anytime you want to, anytime you have an offering, or you just want to come hang with me and kiki for an hour. So that's that. So this is a final episode to the public. And of course, it's also the end of the year. And so I want to take this hour that we have together to really, really work with you to get you ready for 2023. I want to get you ready. And more importantly, you get to stay ready. You get to stay ready. Good morning, beautiful Maxine. Good morning. Yes, Call the people in. If you have friends, colleagues, neighbors, whomever, anybody that you know is actively working to build a brand or thinking about starting a business and they need support and guidance, I can't even tell you, good morning, beautiful Vivian, how important it is to have guidance and support, how important it is to have a community of yes and people. Good morning, beautiful Amber. So important to have a community of yes and people. And I talked about this in the last episode. When you share your dreams and your aspirations, what you're going for, you have to be so careful about who you share that with. You can only share that with yes and people. What do I mean by that? Yes. And what if you did this? Yes. And what about this? And yes. And this, that would be awesome. I know somebody who blah, blah, right? It's the encouragement. The and is them pushing you even further. The opposite of that is they are the yeah, but people. Oh, Amber, you're talking to directors of HR. Yeah, but they only work with big established companies. They're not going to do anything with the Invincibles. Yeah, it would be nice, but yeah, Vivian, getting that commercial, you have to be with, a top tier real estate company. You can't have your own brokerage. In 2022, we get to identify and clear out the yeah, but people. I did a post yesterday, but Disney claimed copyright, which of course it's theirs, but it was, the clip I posted was from Edward Scissorhands. And I want to start off with that today, just to give you an example of the things that are happening in the world, and they just are, and we don't get to worry too much about them. We just get to stay laser focused. So if you know the story, the movie Edward Scissorhand, it's this kid, his hands are scissors. And so he's like this outcast, this freak. People are like, oh my gosh, what is he doing here? And it was a scene where, he was, calling out to one of, the neighbors, and they were making fun of him like, oh God, here he comes. And then the point about that is that I wrote, haters are going to hate, ignore them. Right. So that was from that piece. I pulled out that, what is a teachable moment on that scene? Haters are going to hate, right? He's got scissors for his hands. He's different, she's not she doesn't have a high school degree, or this person looks this way. Haters are going to hate. They're going to find something to hate on. Ignore them. Next part of the scene, where by this time he'd already started doing all of the beautiful green sculptures and cutting people's hedges into like beautiful characters. And then he saw the neighbor's dog, and then he was just like, got an idea, and he started to like do his like scissor stuff, and all like the hair and everything started coming up. And then the next thing you know, this poodle with these magnificent puffs, all asymmetrically beautifully done. And she was so like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is my dog. Cut to the next scene of now all the neighbors with their dogs are lining up for Edward Scissorhand to work magic on their dog. The teaching moment from that, your gifts, your unique gifts and talents will make room for you, monetize it. Because at the dinner table, the dad was saying, I hear you're not charging. And the mom was like, oh, well, so-and-so said she was going to give him some cookies. And he was like, you can't buy anything with cookies, right? But that mom also, right, she was the one who first took him in. When she met him, she was like, you're just going to have to come home with me. The teachable moment from that is there are allies who will support your dream. Find them. And the whole lesson is your uniqueness, your difference. It's what makes you special. It's what makes you stand out, right? God gave you these unique gifts and talents. Use them. Act like you have this gift, this talent, and govern yourself accordingly. So that was what I shared. I saw that and I was just like, oh, I've got to post this because so many people need to understand you cannot do anything about the haters. The haters are going to hate. They're going to be there. Ignore them. There are allies who will support your dreams, your aspirations, the yes and people, find them. God gave you unique gifts and talents that people will line up around the block, monetize it, and just go forth and be unique, different, special, wonderful. So that was the Edward Scissorhands. And so I wanted to get you ready for 2023. And before we can do that, we need to really sort of look back at this year and take stock, right? It's sort of like, when like a store or the supermarket, whatever, they're like, oh, we're closed for inventory management. This is what you get to do this week. This is our final show. This is my final send off for you to get you ready. Inventory management. So I want you to think about January 2022. What did you declare? What did you say you wanted to have happen this year? And did it happen? Did you make it happen? And if you did, I want you to think about your ways of being. Like, who were you? Who did you sort of like embody to make that happen? And if it didn't happen, what caused that to not happen? What got in the way? What excuses did you give the lead position to that caused your 2022 desires to not manifest? So that's one first bit of reflection. We don't have to do it right now, but I want you to take some time. What did you declare in 2022? If it happened, who did you become? What was your way of being? Were you defiant? Were you bold? Were you unapologetic? Right? Were you focused? Were you passionate? Like, what were the things? Because you're going to want to know that to do more of that in 2023. If it didn't happen, I want you to get real intimate with what excuse, what story, what reasons did you let get in the way that caused it not to happen? And this is just the awareness exercise. It's like, okay, let me wake up and see, what am I doing? Am I constantly making excuses? Am I constantly, giving more of myself to others, not leaving time for me to work on my things? Is that what got in the way when I said, I wanted to enroll, 10 clients, in my year-long corporate, team building package? And I enrolled none. What got in the way? I said I wanted to sell, 5 luxury homes, build my brand as a luxury realtor. And it happened. Go back to those moments. Who were you? What were you doing? How were you being? Were you being persistent? Were you being relentless? Were you following up? So get clear and get close to what was happening, either when it did happen or when it didn't happen. Clear? Somebody type clear, so I know you're understanding what the assignment is. If you're clear on what I'm asking you to do, just everybody write clear. So once you've done that, right? So that was the inventory management, right? We've now checked in. Thank you. We have checked in. We have a full understanding of what happened this year, who we were being, how we were showing up, and we're clear. We're clear on, okay, we get to keep doing more of these things, because these were the things that I did to sell my luxury properties. These were the things that I did. These were the ways I was being. So let me make sure I write that down so I can remember and continue to do more of that. And for when it didn't happen, was I in comparisonitis? Was I paralyzed by fear of judgment from the good time Tinas sitting in the peanut gallery and the haters? You get to get super clear. So then into 2023, we get to make a declaration. And you can have declarations in as many areas of your life as you choose, right? You get to write them all out. but here, I'm not even so much concerned about what you're going to declare. What I'm more focused on is your energy when you're making that declaration. So, one of the first things is a level of decision making and a level of commitment to those goals. And I've done this before on the show, and because this is our final episode here, I'm going to do it again. Decide. When you're saying, okay, I'm going to, this 2023, I'm going to enroll 50 corporate clients. It's not, that can't be a wish. That can't be a hope. Oh, I hope it happens. That has to be a declaration, a decision that you are saying to yourself, this is so it shall be. Decide. Break down the root word of decide, icide, which means death, homicide, suicide, herbicide, pesticide. Decide. You have killed off all other options. When you decide a thing, you are saying to every cell in your body, this is happening. Because I've burnt the boats, the bridges have been torn down. There's no retreating, there's no going back. We go forward. This is happening. With a level of declaration that says, I will not be denied my success. So when you get clear on what is it that you want to have happen for you in 2023, whether it's in your personal life or it's in business, remember the root word decide, icide, death. You've killed off all other options. You will enroll 50 corporate clients. It's going to happen. So it's clear to your body that it's full steam ahead. Let me know if we're clear on that. It can't be a wish. You know, Oprah says, people don't get what they wish for, they get what they believe. So I can give lip service to saying, I'm going to run 3 marathons next year because I saw a colleague started to take up running. And now in my weakness and my insecurity of not being able to stand in the truth of who I am, now all of a sudden I'm starting running too. That's a wish. First of all, that would never be my declaration because I get to stand in my own truth. That is not me. I can walk 6 miles, 6.5 miles. I walk almost every day. We're not running any marathons. It just is not my thing. Yeah, I'm glad. Icide, death, decide. Yes, clear, perfect. So when you're making your declarations for 2023, they can't be wishy-washy, they can't be willy-nilly, because it's going to require a level of commitment from every cell in your being to cause that to happen. But it starts with the intention, it starts with the decision. This is happening. This is happening. So get clear. And then once you're clear and you've made your declaration and you have decided that this thing is happening, then I want you to focus on, who do I need to become to ensure that this happens? Who do I need to become to ensure that this happens? So I have decided that I am launching my, women comeback mindset program. Making that up, Judith. I've decided. So if I've decided on 10, 20, whatever your number is, who do I get to become to be the type of person that can cause 10, 20 women to enroll in my program? I get to become somebody who is willing to hear no. I get to become somebody who is not afraid of the word no. That's one. I mean, that's sort of like a universal, right? Because not everybody is going to buy everything that you're offering. Not everybody with a credit card is your client, right? So we get to understand that truth. But I get to become a person who is unfazed, what hashtag unbothered by the word no. I get to become a person who's willing to engage in conversation. Some of us want to just hide behind the COVID-19 barrier and claim because we're not out and about as much as we were, it can't happen. Not true, because Stacy and I just launched She Lab and we have over 250 women who are enrolled. So all things are possible when you decide. All things are possible when you decide. So who do you get to be? You get to be committed. Committed's not a feeling. Committed is not a feeling. I want everybody to hashtag that. Committed is not a feeling. So it's not like, oh, I don't feel that great. I don't feel well. I'm not that. It has nothing to do with how you're feeling. Committed is not a feeling. When you give your word, and for those of you in the accelerator, we're very focused on that. And giving your word to yourself, one of the most important things you get to master. So committed is not a feeling. When you say you're committed to something, so I'll give you an example. When I was just initially working out the partnership agreement with AppSumo to get the Brand Accelerator course on their platform, they required, the codes that everybody would redeem to be done in a certain way with a certain program called like Postman. I never heard of that before. But because I was I was committed to having my program on AppSumo. I had already decided when I was presented with the opportunity and I said yes, I made a decision that the Brand Accelerator course is going to be available on AppSumo, the world's largest international digital marketplace. I made that decision. Who did I have to be? Who did I get to be a person who has a program on that platform? I had to be committed. I had to be determined. I had to be decided. I got to be resolved. So when I watched that how to set up the code thing video 100 times and still couldn't figure it out, I couldn't say, oh, I don't feel like it, because committed is not a feeling. And I made a decision. So I was always in committed action. What was the next thing that I could do to sort this out? So I found a tech person on Fiverr from Pakistan, and I was on a Zoom at 2 a.m. Eastern time with this person, getting help from them to sort this out. Who do you get to be? Most people don't see that. Most people don't know that. They think I just come on here and it's just like, yay, fun time, good time, Tina's. But there's a lot of work that happens in the background. There's a lot of things that I get to do and be to show up powerfully for you the way that I do. When I decided I was launching the Brand Momentum Morning Show, that's a weekly show. I don't get to just go, oh, this week, oh, Lord, I had a rough week last week, and I'm not going to. I gave my word to myself. I gave my word to you. Only mitigating circumstances, which of course life happens and life is lifing, so some things do come up. But on the whole, this show ran every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern. That's who you get to be. Like, could I be lounging and sleeping right now? Yeah. We have a saying in Jamaica, some people love them bed. I love my bed. I'm not one of those who feels any kind of way for not getting up at 6:30. I get no cookies for that. I'm not looking for any kudos for being the early riser, right? Standing in my truth. But my point to you is this, that when I gave my word to myself that I was doing this show, when I gave my word to my community that I was going to show up and coach and teach and inspire and encourage and all the things, that's what I did, regardless of how I felt. So that's who you get to be. So you make your declaration, right? We do the cleaning out. We do the cleaning out. What worked, what didn't work. When it worked, what specifically worked. You want to get close and intimate with that so you can keep doing it. What didn't work. More importantly, what did you let get in the way? What did you let get in the way of that? That's what you really get to focus on, because that's like the cunning thief. Until you really identify and say its name, it was comparisonitis, it was laziness, it was lack of trust in myself. Whatever it was for you that got in the way, you get to name it by name so you can summarily usher it out the building. We get to face it, we get to name it, we get to say you are no longer wanted here. And then you make the declaration for 2023. And when you make the declaration, it's a decision. So it can't be wishy-washy. It can't just be like, oh, everybody's saying this, so I'm going to say this. No, ma'am. You get to get really contemplative and figure out what is it that you get to do for you. Forget about who's doing what, all the things. For you, what does 2023 get to look like for you? And then once you decide, you get into committed action. Get into committed action. Get into the way that you get to be the person who's going to cause this thing to happen. So if it requires you minimizing the amount of non-work like conversations that you've been having, if you find yourself, you've been in this supportive role, you've been taking care of Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane, not leaving any time for you, then you know, okay, I don't get to be that person next year because that person this year didn't cause the thing that I said I wanted to have happen in 2022. So we get to show up differently. There's this video that I saw on LinkedIn. I'll try to find it and post it in the accelerator group. It was like a basketball game. I think it was like a professional NBA. And this one young man, went for the shot and he missed it. And then he was kind of, running back down the court, kind of head hung low, like, feeling dejected, like, I can't believe I didn't get that. And his teammate who was running behind him caught up to him and did this. Not a word said, not a nothing said. And the person who posted it says, these are the type of people I'm hanging with in 2023. People who keep my head up. Like, how powerful of a visual is that, right? That's who you get to hang with, because there will come a time when you're on a Zoom at 2 a.m. and you're just like, oh I just can't get, and you want somebody to say, chin up. You got this. You're going to figure this out. Yes, this is the question. Who do I get to be? Yes. Oh, right. These are the yes and people. He's saying, yeah, and you're going to hit another shot. Keep your head up. It was just such a beautiful example of team, of tribe, of community. like his teammate could have been like, oh my God, I can't, that was such an easy layup. I can't believe you missed it. You don't want to hang with those people. I can't believe you launched your program and you spent how much to launch it and you didn't enroll anyone. We don't want those people around in 23. We get to be, and hear me on this, we get to be very clear and unapologetic. I'm not saying you're going to throw hate and shade at people, but you get to do this: blinders on, laser focus, eyes on the prize, dead ahead. Exactly. This is it right here. When you're feeling down and dejected, you get to have a place where you can refuel, where you can be supported, right? Where you know you're going to get a word of encouragement, maybe some strategies, maybe some, wherever you get to go. This is what the Accelerator Lounge is for our community. So again, if you're not a member, type the word accelerator, because this is the last show where I'm going to be doing this level of deep coaching. We're taking all of this inside the community. And it's a one-time pay. And if I mention it's a one-time pay of $97. And you get to ask yourself the question, am I worth $97? I mean, it's not even a question. I mean, it's insane. But because it's on AppSumo and their deals are lifetime deals, and right, this is a special AppSumo promo pricing. When the codes are done, it's a wrap. This program's going back to $997 plus. Okay. So who do you have to be? Be committed. Committed's not a feeling. And what are you willing to give up to get? Now, this isn't about like lack or sacrificing yourself, because you know me, you know, I'm all about a good self-care moment. I'm all about a good feeling good moment. But Dave Ramsey says this. He says, when you're in debt, you know, his strategy is the debt snowball strategy. In order to get out of debt using that strategy, he says, eat rice and beans and rice for a moment. Not saying for the rest of your life you're going to be eating rice and beans. But in this moment, when we have a clear strategy of being debt free, we have a clear strategy of we want our credit score to, you know, go up 50 points, whatever it might be for you. There are some things we get to give up. Like when I was doing it, gosh, how many years ago? What did I have to give up? I got to give up looking at Kate Spade and Tory Burch emails. Like I literally unsubscribed because, right, I get to stand in my truth. I know me. I'm like, oh my God, it's a steal. My mom and I, when we go anywhere and we see like a good deal, we're like, oh my, how can you leave this? You can't leave this. Right? Listen, justification for the purchase, we are excellent, because if it's in a red and a blue, you got to get all colors. So because I am very clear on my strengths and my weaknesses, what did I get to do? What was I willing to do to utilize this debt snowball strategy to get free from debt? I unsubscribed. Now you could say, oh, well, you know that they're still there. Yes, I could just go to the website at any time. But I'm standing in my truth and knowing that if I see a Kate Spade 75% off email, I'm going to click. Let me just see what Kate's got. Invariably, I will end up with this, right? A passport holder. Is it required? Is it necessary? Is the customs officer not going to accept my passport if I don't have a holder? Of course not. Good morning, Sprinkles. But I know me, right? I stand in my truth. So I unsubscribed during the time I was doing Dave Ramsey's Debt Snowball, because getting out of debt was more important to me than finding yet another thing that, wasn't really required, but I like it. Beth, you and I know, Beth and I have like a total Kate addiction. So, right? What was I willing to give up to get what I wanted? I was willing to give up my internet shopping, my window browsing, whatever you want to call it, to be intentional, that I don't get to buy anything. Listen, if I were to take you guys into my closet now, the number of Kate Spade bags I have, it's obscene. Tory Burch, Louis, right? And I'm not making myself wrong. I'm just saying at that moment, what was more important to me was getting out of debt. So I unsubscribed. So what are you willing to give up to get what you want? When you make your declaration, when you make your decision for 2023, when you say, like, this is what I'm doing, Beth, when you say, I am launching my Sprinkles line of t-shirt, that gets to be a decision. It's decided, it's committed action. You don't get to have any excuses, and you get to shift into the person that you get to be to make that happen. I was watching, my husband and I just this past weekend, we watched the Meghan Markle and Harry documentary. So eye-opening, you get to see behind, the curtains of the institution and all of the things that happened. But what I found so interesting, right, was that so she got to the point where she literally felt like she didn't want to be here anymore. She wanted to kill herself. And so she had to make a decision. Do I stay for the pomp and circumstance of what the other people are going to think about me? Like, I've had colleagues who said, oh, well, she knew she was marrying into, the institution, and he was a prince, so she should just, go along to get along. Go along to get along and end up killing herself? No. So she gets to make a decision that my family, my sanity is more important. I am willing to give up active Duchess status for my sanity. And let me tell you, she had a world of hurt trailing her with the media, with all of it, because of that decision, but willing to take the stand for it. What are you willing to give up and do and be to have whatever you decide for 2023 happen? Very important, because I'm sure there are moments where she was thinking, oh my gosh, like, what did I get myself into? Like, her life was cush before. She was on Suits. She was going all over, the world, traveling with her friend. Like, life was good. And she gets to stand for what she believes in, no matter what people say. Oh, you knew he was a prince. Deal with it. No, she doesn't get to deal with it. She gets to live. She gets to live. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do? Who are you willing to be to have that happen? Very, very important, because when the boat gets rocky, which it will, when you start to feel like, oh my God, I need a Dramamine, and you will, and you need to have already thought through, when that happens, I'm going to turn to my yes and people. This is why I'm encouraging all of you to get into the accelerator, because you have a place. This is a lifetime deal. You have a place always to turn to. Oh, I'm trying this thing and it's not working. Who is your person? Who can you turn to say, I need guidance and support. I need some ideas. Think about that. The other thing that you get to really, really focus on for 23 is having an objective relationship with the results. There was a reel that I saw on Instagram, and the audio said something along these lines. Don't be upset with the results you receive from the work you didn't do. What? Yes, sir. Say that again. Don't be upset with the results you get from the work you didn't do. Okay, right? This is now when truth meets truth. Okay, because so you're mad, nobody commented on your Instagram reel or your post or your whatever. How active are you? How consistent are you? And how willing are you to engage in other people's content? Right? Boom. Exactly. Yeah, I was like, play that again, Sam. Don't be mad with what you get from the work you didn't do. So, that for me is key. It's clutch. You're thinking about what you want to have happen in 2023. You get to have a very objective relationship with the results. I only had 2 people express interest in my program. Okay, how many people did you reach out to? I think I said this to one of the accelerator members. Like, this is just some of the coaching that happens in there. So she shared that, and I said, "Do you know what your conversion rate is?" Like, I'm asking everybody now on this. Do you? If I were to ask you, what is your conversion rate? Meaning, phone, like a phone conversation or in person. When you tell somebody something that you're doing, you make an invitation. What is your conversion rate for them saying yes? If you don't know that, literally we're shooting darts in the dark. Because if you know you have, let's just say you've got like a 50% conversion rate when you have an in-person dialogue or you pick up the phone and you speak with someone. So if you have a 50% and you want 20 people in your program, you need to speak to a minimum of 40 people. And it could be even double that, right? You get to speak to 100. So this is why it's so important to understand, because what did I say before? Not everybody with a credit card is your client. So even if you have a 50% conversion rate and you talk to 40 people, because not everybody with a credit card is your client, means you're going to need to speak to even more. With the same level of energy and enthusiasm as when you started making the first call. It can't be you get to person 39 and you're like, yeah, hi, this is me. And it has to be like it's day one. Hi, all the things. So objective relationship with the results, key. If you don't know what your conversion rate is, you get to start tracking that. So from this point on, get a sheet. And if you have a program or you're making any kind of invitation, and I want you to be able to track it, by in person or phone or email, right? Because there are different conversion rates for each. But when you one-to-one with someone, you pick up the phone and you call them and say, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm looking for your participation. I want you to track how many people you spoke to and what the results were. So you know your number. So if you only have a 20% of the people convert when I have a one-to-one conversation, whether it's in person or phone, then you just do the math. And then you know how many people you get to speak to. So, oh, you know what? I spoke to 10 people and nobody enrolled. Ma'am, and what was your goal, 10? Oh, is that because you know that you have 100% conversion rate? Because that's the only reason why you would only speak to 7 people and expect 7 people to enroll. That means you know you have 100%. Everybody you talk to says yes. Questions? Let me know what's landing, because I know I'm going through a lot. We've got 15 minutes left. I want you to You should be taking notes. As my mentor Julie says, this is a writer downer. This whole session, watch this again. It's our last episode, public episode, and I'm chock full with loads and loads of stuff. After that, you need to have a game plan. What is the execution? How is this going to go down? How is this going to go down for me? So if I use Amber, if I say, okay, right, I'm going, my declaration is to have, 50 corporate clients, meaning whenever they have any management retreat, any team building, team bonding, the Invincibles is on that plan. I'm making that up. Amber didn't say that, but let's just say that that's what it is. Okay, you've declared it. You figured out who you get to be. You get to be resilient. You get to be persistent. You get to love hearing the word no because you know your yes is coming. You are all the things, okay? Energetically, like your way of being. But you still need to know the path. You still need to have a plan for, okay, where am I going to find these corporations? What's my strategy for approach? What's my strategy for follow-up? What is my sampling strategy? This is like a tangent, but I'm just going to give it to you here. If you can implement a sampling strategy in your program, in your anything, your numbers will increase dramatically, assuming your goods are good, because it can cut both ways, right? I do a sample, you see how it is, you're like, yeah, no, that's not for me. Or like for me, when I was before COVID and I was doing my, monthly lunches at Kyle G's, shout out to Kyle G's on the beach, 5-star, amazing steak, seafood restaurant. If you're in Stewart, Port St. Lucie, Jensen Beach, go check them out. Every month I was there in the private, dining room, and I did 2 hours of live. You think this is fire? Be in person with me. 2 hours live training on a topic. People were just enrolling in VIP, brand ambassador, platinum, all the things. So what I want you to think about is like, okay, what's my game plan? How do I go about getting to the desired outcome of the 50 new corporate clients? We can't just wish or will it into existence. You need to have a focused plan. Again, why being a part of the accelerator program is critical, because that's all we do. I mean, this year and moving forward, I'm literally acting like everybody in that program is, a one-on-one client. I'm giving them more access than what I even started the program with, because I'm just so committed to the accelerators winning. So committed to their winning. So what is your game plan? Right? You've made the declaration. What is the game plan? You need help. You need a strategic plan. You need right? That's where I come in. That's where I can help. Next, what's your way of being? It gets to be urgent versus desperate. Can you, somebody give me, in your idea, the difference between the energy of urgency versus the energy of desperation while I sip my coffee. Judith, perfect. That's it. And when they say yes, understand why they're saying yes. Where are they in their sort of, moment in life that's causing them to say yes? And if they say no, what's in the way for them for the no at this time? So for the accelerators, I'm literally going to do a special training on sales conversion and sales conversation. Like I paid $20,000 to a mentor to get this conversation. I'm going to give it to the accelerators. So just look out for that in 23 inside the lounge. But what is the difference between the energy of urgency versus desperation. Okay, with urgency, I'm feeling inspired to show up for somebody who needs my service. With desperation, it's the energy of lack and frustration and needy. And just like chum in the water that the sharks can smell miles and miles away, people can smell the energy of desperation versus urgent. Like now I'm being urgent with everyone because I don't control the codes at AppSumo. When the codes are done, it's done. Nothing I can do about it. So I have a level of urgency about me by sharing, by inviting, by giving examples to say, this is why you get to take inspired action now, right? There's urgency on this. I'm not desperate and I'm not attached, right? I'm not attached, desperate, oh, please, none of that. Urgency is I want to be clear that I'm sharing the information, I'm letting everybody know about it. So just like when Noah was saying there might be some rain, you want to come this way, and people are like, oh, whatever, laugh, drink, merriment. And then Noah and his peeps were like, deuces, we're out. And then a whole world of hurt happened. Not that I'm saying I'm Noah, but you get my point, right? So there is an urgency that says, here's why this, why now? Why this, why now? And when you can explain and share the why this, why now, and you feel good about it, then you do the follow. Listen, I can't even tell you how many people have said, oh, thank you for the follow-up. Thank you for the follow-up. So follow-up also gets to be a part of this. I'll give you an example. So many, many years ago when I was in Minnesota, and this is when I started doing Legal Shield, and I was on a phone call with a man and, you know, talking to him about the legal plan and the identity theft. And he said, yeah, you know what? Why don't you follow up with me in a year? What, sir? I didn't, but you know what? I didn't skip a beat. I said, okay, great. I made a note in my calendar. I put it in my online calendar the day before. It would have been a year. Ding. Hey, Bob. Faith here. Yeah, but just following up. I know you said to contact you within a year. So I just wanted to have that conversation again. Of course, he signed up. I wasn't desperate. I wasn't trying to convince and cajole. I'm just like, hey, there's this thing called identity theft and they can get you real bad. Okay, next year, perfect. Professionals follow up. Professionals give urgency to what's required. They are not desperate because you understand that there are plenty of other people who need your service. But when you're desperate on one person, that's like your laziness, kind of like you don't want to do the work to go talk to two more people. You're putting all the pressure on this one person to say yes because there is some fear that you get to work on in having these connected conversations with people, right? So focus plan. What's your plan? Do you have a strategic plan? Once you make your declaration, do you know how to create a strategic plan? Do you know, like, your days get to be mapped out? Your days of the week get to be mapped out. Like I have in my calendar, like it's mapped out that says, okay, send monthly resource here, send a free resource. Like it's planned out. Do you have that? And then it's all about the details, right? It's that we can't just wish and hope our way to our goals. You get to have the details, the plan, like, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm like, all the details. And if you know you get to have help, then get the help. Like Claire, who's my executive assistant, I've had her, some of you might have even gotten it. I had her reach out on my behalf about the accelerator program because I don't get to spend however many hours it would take to do that and plus service my clients and plus run my business and right. So I know I get to have help. So I just gave her the details. This is Judith, this is what I was talking about with give me one second, guys. this is what I was talking about in terms of how we got She Lab, which literally is a brand new company, from zero to 200 and let me give you the latest numbers here. Uh, 228 by just a simple script that I wrote. I gave her the process of, okay, when this happens, do this. When this happens, do this. You can get an assistant. You can pay somebody, 10, 12 bucks an hour and get that done. So the details on how all the things, because what happens is we get into overwhelm. And I know I can coach you on this because just like me, I've been there, where you look at everything that you have to do in your business and you're just like, whoa, Nelly. But when you break it down, like I said on my video last week, when you break it down into micro moments, right? Like my accountability with the accelerators last week was to clear off my bench in my office. And I posted the before and after picture in the group because I too do the work. Like you're not immune from doing momentum work. It gets to be a continuous effort. So I did that and I showed that. So, like my desk drawer, awesomely organized and neat, but the cubbies under the bench, like that gets to be a next project. But I don't walk in here and go, I got to like reorganize this entire office right away. Because then that's how you get into overwhelm. Micro moments, I focused on the bench. Next thing, I'll do something else. And then to have rigor and discipline as your way forward and persistence. We talk about one of the C's of branding, consistency. You get to be consistent. Remember at the beginning of this year, I talked about, do you have a thing that you do every something? Like this show was every Monday at 10, Brand Momentum show. Do the people know where to come find you with consistency? So you think about on the Serengeti, right? The wildebeest, the zebra, the rhino, all the people dispersed all through the Serengeti. But guess what? Everybody knows where to find the watering hole and what time of the year it's not going to be dried out so they can get watered before, right? They know. Where is your watering hole? Where do your people come and find you? See, that's part of the focus plan that I'm going to be working on with the accelerators, to give them that mapping, because until you become consistent in your expertise, where your people start to identify when they say, Beth, what words do you want people to say? When they say Amber, what words do you want to come to mind? Right? Just like if I say, tell me a name of a laundry detergent brand. There are only going to be a handful that come to mind. And you know which handfuls those are? The ones that are consistently running ads, the ones that are consistently sending you, coupons in the Sunday paper, the ones that are consistently doing web ads on your computer. It's not going to be the random one that you saw at Whole Foods and you didn't even remember. It's not going to be that one. It's going to be the ones that are consistent. When we talk about the 10 C's of branding, constancy and consistency, right? Constancy, constant. Oh, Faith James, nobody's confused. If they don't even know all of the different programs that I do, branding, nobody's confused. When you are in a group, this is how you can even test. Look back over this year when somebody was saying, oh, I'm looking for somebody to help me get unstuck, or I'm looking for, an event, event planning. Did you ever see your name, somebody else saying, oh, so-and-so? That's just a qualitative way to check in, but it's those types of things. But it doesn't happen for you unless you become like planted like a tree, like a great oak, that those small, when it's first planted, shoots, roots down, sends out big, massive barks and holds its position. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, rain, Easter, Hanukkah, whatever, nor'easter, snow, hurricane, right? That oak tree is rooted firmly planted, and that's what you get to be. Exactly. That's the key. Yeah. Consistency. When does the 6 o'clock news come on? The 6 o'clock news comes on at 6 o'clock. It's not like, listen, I got something to do. Let's go live at 4. You know what? So what, today's what, Wednesday? Hump day. No 6 o'clock news today. 6 o'clock news goes at 6 o'clock. Unless there's like breaking news, right? But for the most part, the 6 o'clock news goes at 6 o'clock. Where is your watering hole? Where can your people find you with any level of consistency? Because until you show up consistently with value, offering value, sitting in the expert seat, it will remain difficult for you to enroll people, for you to invite people in, because they're like, I don't know you like that. You get to let your people know you like that with just urgency, no desperation, where you're making your invitations. We're not begging anyone to join the Brand Accelerator. We're inviting you in. It's a privilege. Membership has its privileges. It's a privilege for you to be in this community. And the doors are open until, like they say in London, right? Mind the gap, doors are closing. But what you see in front of you here now, all of these things I have done, all of these things I continue to do. It's not a one and done. It's not like, oh, resolution, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, go to the gym. And then, you know, the joke, by February, you're like, girl, let's go meet up for some drinks. Talk about that resolution that didn't happen. So let me know if you guys have any questions, because like I said, this is our last show for the public, you know, next year. And in fact, this is going to be for the guys in the accelerator. I'll jump in the group just now and do, we'll do our accountability declaration for what we are, you know, calling in as our thing to do. I'll do mine as well. And then I'll keep you guys accountable. So we're heading out for holidays. So I won't be back, you know, working until next year when we come on with the new show, talking all things brands. And I want to wish everyone just a brilliant, happy holiday. You know, I just want to share something, and it's like a heavy time right now. And I started doing this from a conversation I had with Kathy. Kathy was one of the students when I was coaching in this leadership program. And another one of our coaches posted that one of the other students took her life in December. And it just, you know, Kathy called me and we were talking, and it's just so heavy. So I said, you know what, one of the things we get to do, and this is like a personal declaration for me, but I'm going to invite you, if you feel called to it, to join me in this. So I literally just went through my friends. I pulled up my friends list on Facebook, and I've just in no, as I see them, I just if they have their page set up where I can post, I've just posted a heart. And it's small, but it's significant, right? Because one of the things that I'm all about is being love and giving love. I come from love, therefore I am love. God is love, therefore I get to be love. And with no judgment, with no, oh, I haven't seen you in, none of that. I'm just sending love. So I'm just literally dropping hearts on every single one of my friends on my Facebook page. And that'll just continue on throughout the year. If that feels good for you to do that, then I invite you to do that along with me. And I'm not even putting any explanation. I'm just like, it's a red heart that speaks for itself. Because I think in this time of, again, uncertainty, and we don't know, you know, how people really are doing. You know, one of the things Meghan Markle talked about on that documentary was like, the reporter was like the first person to really ask her, like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? And Kathy said, to me, she's like, I know we don't speak all the time, but I'm only 10 digits away. And I just thought that was so beautiful and so profound. And so I'm making an intentional effort to be even more connected in whatever way that I can, because people are hurting and we can't see it because we live in this filtered world of, oh, my life is wonderful and I'm suffering silently. And I know we can't take on the burden of the world to say I'm taking, right, but we get to do something. We get to reach out in any way. So whatever feels good for you, that's my invitation for you to give love, be love, not just in this holiday season, but let that just be a way of being. Like I told you, one of my clients, who's also an accelerator member, Eileen, first gave me this gift of only clicking the heart button on posts. Like I don't even know where the like button is anymore. Anything I do, it's a heart. And she's the heart healer. And so that gift she gave me just stayed with me, and that's all that I do now, and it feels really good. So my energy around it is that I'm giving and I'm sending love in all of my engagements. So happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, all the things. I will see you all in the new year. If you are not in the accelerator program, go ahead and comment with the word accelerator. There it is. You will get information about the program. And again, this is the example of urgency, not desperation. When the codes are gone, the codes are like, this is not like a false limiter. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean when I say a false limiter. Some people will say, oh, we're going to close the cart now. And then the next thing you know, next week, oh, we had so many people ask, we've opened it up. Everybody can see right through that. I don't control AppSumo's stuff, right? I'm grateful to be on their platform. So when the codes are gone, that's it. So get in, it's $97. Find it, put it on a cart. I don't know what you need to do, but because it's not like I can say, oh yeah, for sure, we're gonna have this much by then. I don't know, right? You have to go over to their site to purchase it. So take action if it speaks to you. Accelerators, I will be jumping into our group. Give me like 10 minutes to refresh my coffee. I'm going to come in there and talk to you guys and all the things. Listen, Beth, come through. Yes, happy holidays. Happy holidays. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, traveling mercies as we go. Yes. That's all I do. Thanks to Eileen. That is all that I do. I don't distinguish, like, I love everything. I'm just being love, giving love. So my lovelies, go make it a wonderful Momentum Monday. I will see the accelerators in like 10 minutes in the group. I'm going to do a live in there. So hang around. And for those of you thinking about it, get in when you can. Like I said, it's going to be the best $97 you've ever spent in your life. And I'm just excited for 2023. I have been saying it, I'm declaring it over all of us. 2023 gets to be our breakthrough year. It is done, it is happening. I am pleading the blood of Jesus all over it. Yep, love it. Okay, my lovelies, go be awesome. I love you. I will see you accelerators in a few. Everybody else, happy holidays.
No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No you.